Space for grave sites at Whitebridge Cemetery is running out, and just next door the netball courts have also been squeezed, a dilemma for Lake Macquarie Council. Councillors, including Ken Winning, have been trying to sort out the conflicting demands.
We've approved 4 more netball courts on the association's own land, an extension to the south, but at the same time we're asking the Department of Land and Water Conservation to extend the cemetery to the north and south.
A compromise has been reached, providing 4 extra netball courts alongside an additional 1,000 grave sites.
There'll be no conflict, and it's been quite amicably sorted out now, I think, between the association and the Friends of the Whitebridge Cemetery.
The students of Whitebridge High School and Charleston Netball Club are happy with the expansion.
It's a good idea, then we can hold state titles here. It'll be a big good thing for the club. We'll be able to have more people coming and a bit of money coming in.
While to some the thought of netball next to a cemetery is a strange mix, this Year 9 student takes it all in her stride.
You don't really notice it when you're playing, like you're more focused on your netball than the graves.
Rochelle Edwards, NBN News.
Just 3 months after its official opening, Kurri Kurri High School's Performing Arts Centre burnt to the ground. It devastated the community who helped fund its construction and left students without proper drama and music classrooms.
We lost things like, there's a wall of mirrors over there, so obviously in a normal classroom you don't have that sort of thing either, and it meant just being in a normal classroom.
Now the students' wait for a replacement building is over. The official opening of the centre will be held tomorrow night, but classes are already enjoying the difference the new building makes. And the benefits should extend to the whole community.
I think the whole community is really looking forward to the reopening of this building, because it's a sort of project that the community had its heart and soul in, because originally it was a jointly funded building with the Department of Education and the community.
Brooke Webster, NBN News.
It's been a titanic battle, the state jockey premiership for the season coming down to the final week. Greg Ryan has been the front runner, but Larry Cassidy has been hot on his heels.
Larry, he's just kept coming at me for the last month, and he's fighting it to the end, and I won't relax.
A fairy tale ride for Ryan, who was working as a motor mechanic until he found his calling.
I got a job on a stud, and it was the local jockey suggested I should have a ride, and things have just gone from there, and it's turned out to be a great move.
A great move is an understatement, as Ryan is set to take the prize for the most wins in New South Wales. But not all is lost for Cassidy, who looks likely to win the National Jockeys Premiership for the first time.
I'm riding tomorrow at Canterbury, so hopefully if I can pick up another winner, that might just keep me enough in front.
Dale Spriggs is ready for the title of Provincial Champion Jockey, and today Shane Treweek claimed Newcastle's #1 rating.
The proprietor of the Bar Beach General Store was threatened with a syringe about 7:30 last night, but the owner turned the tables on the offender, threatening him with a large jar. After a brief standoff, the offender left. It's believed he's known to police. Just before 10 o'clock, 2 intruders armed with knives threatened the attendant of the mobile service station on Bridges Road, New Lambton, before making off with the takings. One man is described as 180 centimetres tall, of light to medium build. His accomplice was a teenager of 165 centimetres tall with light brown hair.
The fire that blazed spectacularly 4 years ago spelt tragedy for Toronto High School. The classrooms were burnt to the ground, students were shocked and devastated. Demolition took place and what was once a centre of learning was reduced to rubble. But today a triumph, almost $7 million later, and the upgraded school was revealed. Education Minister John Aquilina was on hand to officially open the new facilities.
It's great to be able to see students and teachers come through adversity and to be able to have a new beginning in a brand new building with computers, with music rooms, with videos, with all the great facilities that are very much part of teaching and learning today.
The school, which boasts 2 wings in Rocker-Stedfords, is set to utilise the new additions. Part of the expansion means there are new blocks for food and technology and art, design and computers, as well as general learning. After 4 turbulent years, the students can now get on with what they do best, learning and achieving. Rochelle Edwards, NBN News. Last night, Michael Guest stepped off the plane from New Zealand and has hardly had time to unpack his gear and catch up with his dog Ruby. And he's got a fair bit to tell his pup, with a world-class win in the production class and plans for plenty more big victories on their way.
It's fantastic to finally win a round of the World Championship and to beat the current world champion just makes it a sweeter victory.
This Newcastle man is eyeing the ultimate prize, a World Championship title, and the chance to chase that goal may come as early as next year.
It depends on what program we could come up with, but I wouldn't like to say the whole 14, but certainly no, we'd have a good shot at scoring enough points to win the championship.
His next great challenge is the Australian round of the World Championship, an event he's led the past 2 years but failed to win, and he's hoping it'll be a case of third time lucky because it's a rally that he holds close to his heart. Rochelle Edwards, NBN News.
Hunter residents were reassured today that their water was as safe as ever to drink. Routine testing of local catchments showed no traces of the microorganism found in parts of Sydney's supply.
Our system's completely unrelated to the Sydney system. We test routinely every month and we're not detecting anything. But of course if we did, we would notify the Department of Health and take the necessary precautions.
Hunter Water, however, made the most of today's media interest, revealing plans to build 2 hydroelectricity plants, one at Chichester Dam and another at the Dungog Water Treatment Facility. They'll be similar to the Glenbourne Dam scheme, which utilises water pouring from the catchment and is worth its weight in gold.
If we could save 10%, our total electricity bill is over $4 million, so 10% of electricity is a lot of money.
The project is a result of a partnership with the Sustainable Energy Development Authority. They're aiming to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by cutting back on coal-based power generation.
If we can just reduce the amount of energy that Hunter Water Corporation uses just by 10%, that will be equivalent in terms of greenhouse gas emission reductions to taking about 1,100 cars off the road every year, year after year.
Conserving energy may also take the form of remote-controlled sensors, which would be placed on the region's 500 water pumps, so they would only operate according to consumer demand. Vanessa Spark, NBN News.
A walk along the Bar Beach Promenade is welcome relief for Madeline Phillips after pushing her body to the limit over the past week. The 18-year-old Newcastle High School student has just won her first international medals at a meet in Japan. Silver in the 5-kilometre swim, gold in the 25 kilometres. But for a distance swimmer, things only get better when they get bigger. In the meantime, she'll continue to train up to 6 hours a day as she prepares for shorter events at the Nationals. She fits all those sessions in the pool while completing her HSC part-time and laughs off suggestions she's taken the fast lane to pain. Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
The dinner has been organised by Hunter Health to mark an increase in emergency surgery operations. It claims that it's performed 2,110 more operations than originally booked last year, and that in itself is worth celebrating. But speculation surrounds the cost of the event, with some reports suggesting a $20,000 bill. Health workers say that it's a waste of public money.
Seems quite an expensive dinner. Given the absolute cost constraints that are being placed on not only nurses but other members of staff in the Hunter Area Health Service.
Hunter Health has hit back at the rumours, saying the event will cost less than the price of a knee operation, which works out to be around $4,000. But the Nurses Association says the service should be cutting back on any financial extras, considering staff cuts are looming.
It's a real slap in the face for the workers who are being asked to make extraordinary cuts to services when you have this sort of dinner party come up.
The function has caused a stir among Hunter surgeons as well, and it's believed some have decided simply not to attend the event at all. Vanessa Spark, NBN News. One more for luck, sorry, I'm on a roll now.
Playing 3 games in 7 days, Maitland surprised everyone but themselves when it beat Cessnock last weekend. However, captain coach Steve Story still rates his side as the underdogs this weekend against Lakes.
They've beaten all the top sides where, we haven't beaten Lakes all year and we haven't come close to West all year.
But Lakes mentor Max Chapman is playing down the talk, preferring to let his team's performance do the talking.
He can have the underdog tag if he wants, we're just going up there to play football.
However, Chapman himself won't be running out. A hamstring strain will keep him sidelined for at least another week.
Oh, it's frustrating, yeah, but you get to look at what's going on out there and it's sort of an advantage.
Both captain coaches are enjoying successful seasons in the role, but like Chapman, Story doesn't want it to end just yet.
We've improved on last year, which is our big goal, but in saying that, I won't be happy if we finish this weekend.
Meanwhile, Western Suburbs host Souths in the major semi-final at Harker Oval on Sunday, the winner advancing straight to the grand final. The Wildfires have been without Jared Heaney for more than a month due to his busy representative schedule, which saw him a part of the successful Australian under-21 side.
And his work rate and pace round the field is good, so yeah, he is important to the team and it's great to have him back on deck.
Normally a back rower, Heaney will slot into the second row tomorrow. Newcastle beat the Woodies against the odds in the first round after the Fires had to forego its home ground advantage when Marathon Stadium was too wet.
That's the first time we've ever beaten them and we'd like to make it twice in one season.
In local rugby union, 2 games highlight the round, the first between the Waratahs and the Wanderers, while the Singleton-May East match will also be an important game for both, just 3 weeks before the semi-finals. In the other games, the Blacks host the Students, while Muswellbrook take on Hamilton in the Battle of the Cellar Dwellers. Finally, a dry weekend for NBN Soccer League. The Rosebuds play the fancied Easts tomorrow, while on Sunday Broadmeadow take on Toronto, Wallsend play leaders Olympic, Edgeworth meet Belmont, Cessnock host Highfields and Western is at home against the Gunners. Andrew John swapped boots for board today, but football was still on his mind, namely a hip injury which was still causing him concern.
Sort of works two ways. It relaxes you also, and a little bit of fitness work, so it's nice to get out there.
It's a catch-22 for the Kangaroo halfback. While he doesn't want to risk further injury to his hip, he doesn't want to miss tomorrow night's game either.
Being such an important game, you know, we've got to consolidate our position on the top of the table, and I think it's pretty important that I play. If the doctor says, you know, there's not much chance of me re-injuring, then I'll play for sure.
And late today, John's got that clearance after a check-up by club doctor Neil Halpin. For teammate Darren Albert, the season had only just begun after recovering from injury. But after breaking down at training midweek, his injured foot now has a pin inserted.
There's a slim hope that he might be back in time for the finals, but I'll just keep my fingers crossed.
With Brett Grogan still troubled with rib cartilage problems, Evan Cochrane now comes back into the starting side on the wing, with Sean Rudder moving to the bench. NBN will show a full replay of the game tomorrow night at 10:40.
It's an event which lays claim to being one of the biggest assemblies of horses in the world. A glorious winter's day only adding to the spectacle.
The last 3 years we've had to go out the week before and change the track. It just seemed to be a wet season. But we must be doing something right. We always get a good day on the day.
Entrants from the northwest to South Australia saddled up for a 6-hour walk through the Hunter Valley. Every step in aid of the Riding for the Disabled group and for kids with cancer. Riders of all ages and all sizes enjoyed the day, although there were some tales of being sore in the saddle.
A little bit. Had a big night last night.
It's hoped the ride will eventually raise over $40,000. And on today's turnout, organisers are already looking to the future.
Well, I hope they've had good enough time to come back next year. That's the big thing, and I hope they bring their friends.
Colin Baldwin, NBN News.
Lake centre Tony Herman didn't split Maitland's defence, he steamrolled it to open the goal scoring account in the first half. But Maitland returned the favour after the Seagulls failed to fly high to meet a Steve Story bomb, James Lovegrove finishing off to help level it 6 apiece. Ewan McGrady pinched the lead back for Lakes after he raced 70 metres to score. But the real pain for the Pickers came a few minutes later when Craig Hibbard set John Allison up to score Lakes' third. Up 18-6 at the break, any chance Maitland had went the same time Matthew Smith found the line. The Pickers' season plucked, going down 34-18. The feature at Randwick was also race 6 over 1100 metres. Mr Victory scored an upset win, but the punters would have been happy with the return of $36.70 and $8.20 the place. Masked Party and Juggler filled the minors to help give a trifecta of just over $1,500. With a quick getaway crucial, the Le Mans-style start created a sea of ski boats and spray. Racing a 10-kilometre circuit around Cairns Wharf on Lake Macquarie, competitors had little chance of taking in the views around Rafferty's resort. In fact, many struggled to see anything at all. Today's event was the second round of 3 enduro events that make up the Australian Championship. The Sydney pair of Todd Miller and Sylvan Boreau, the winners of the 2 80-kilometre races today. From boats to bowls, and Cahaiba Club hosted the District Triples final in near-perfect weather. Redhead trio of Brett Wall, Jack Littlewood and John Jennings just got the money against Edgeworth, with an extra end needed to find the winner. With scores locked 19 apiece after 21 ends, Redhead got home 22-19. 5 games in NBN Soccer League today. Toronto beat the Magic 2-1, Hamilton down the Devils. The Eagles smashed the Swans 8-0, Cessnock beat Highfields while Western and South Cardiff drew 1-1. The first half was one of missed opportunities. Souths denied a try early from a double movement. While at the other end, West did all the hard work only to drop the final pass with the try line open. The boot of Heyman Lowe finally got points on the board as Souths kicked 2 points clear. The Rosellas meanwhile looked anything but premiers. However, Scott Bradley got them on level terms soon after, while Paul Skovgaard was cautioned for this high shot on Heath Allen just before the teams went to the break at 4-4. It was a different story in the second half, Souths and West piling on the points. The final score, the Lions winners 22 points to 20. The only things that reported injured today were a few of the Newcastle Knights golf handicaps. The same can't be said for Saturday night's loss to Melbourne. After consecutive losses, Coach Mal really is happy to try anything to reverse his team's fortunes.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything on the training part that's going to improve our performances. I think it's just the focus.
An ever-growing injury list continues to plague the team, with Bill Peden carrying the wounds of battle, his ankle a major concern.
At this stage it's pretty sore, but I think it might come good.
It's probably lucky Mark Hughes remembers nothing of the sickening head clash with Rod Wishart that saw both knocked out, but surprisingly it's not a head injury that may keep him sidelined this weekend.
I hurt the inside of my knee and I'm a bit worried about that at the moment. The bruising hasn't come out, so I'm not sure what's exactly wrong with that.
Hughes' flatmate Daniel Smales has a better idea of his predicament, but it's not the news he's looking for. The up-and-coming forward is set for a knee reconstruction.
It's a lot of hard work to get there, and when you do, come the business end of the season and you got to miss it.
Injured after just 1 minute of his 6th appearance in the top grade, Smales could wait up to 9 months before he gets to run out on Marathon Stadium again.
There's not much you can do about it, it's just the way things happen, I guess.
Jim Callanan, NBN News. The NBL want the club distribution money to fund a nationwide marketing campaign. The Falcons need it to pay the bills.
It's a difficult problem for us. It's one that won't be resolved easily.
Board members met in an extraordinary meeting late yesterday to find a new way to plug a major hole in the club's budget.
It is a substantial amount of money, and we're now revisiting as we speak those budgets to see just how we can accommodate that absence from our income.
Falcons hope they can encourage the NBL to change its mind, but if they can't, a new cash source will have to be found or costs cut. The first could be in administration.
Difficult to say. Look, it's a tough time, and we've really got to come up with some answers in the next few days.
Jim Callanan, NBN News.
Students from the Dudley Primary School, descendants of lost miners and locals, gathered where a little over 100 years ago, townsfolk would have stood to hear of the tragedy and their men still below.
It would have been a very nasty time especially for them waiting for news at the pit heads, which I have noticed in the books that they waited for days and days for news.
Flanked by a couple of pubs in Ocean Street, the Dudley Colliery site is now a football field. 15 men died when methane gas and coal dust exploded, ripping through the mine. It was closed for months afterwards. The last miner's body recovered 100 years ago to the day. Joan Elias laid flowers for her great-grandfather Thomas Young, who died in the blast. The great-great-granddaughters of another miner, Shani and Lucinda Parker, attend the nearby Dudley School, where history isn't forgotten. Not far away in the Whitebridge Cemetery, the elaborate headstones of some of the miners are also part of Dudley's rich links with the past.
Western in the Stripes started the game at Breakers Stadium with a slim chance of sneaking into the finals. Wallsend needed to win to ensure its spot. Western led for most of the game, but 2 goals in the final 10 minutes by Wallsend killed the visitors' chances. The 3-2 defeat ending their season. A costly loss by Edgeworth against Broadmeadow, the 1-goal defeat knocking the team off the top of the ladder. That position's been taken by Hamilton Olympic, following its 2-1 win over East Maitland. Meanwhile, the Newcastle Knights under-19s Jersey Flag team is just 2 wins away from a grand final berth. The first challenge comes this weekend against South Sydney at Belmore Oval. The Knights won 28-0 the last time the clubs met, but 6 players are under an injury cloud going into the do-or-die affair. The Newcastle High School women's rugby team in the red is through to the state quarter-finals after beating Sydney team Crestwood High. In atrocious conditions, the locals outlasted the visitors at Learmonth Park at South Hamilton to win 10-0.
Emergency crews were called to this Rankin Road house in Fern Bay just after 11 o'clock this morning.
It would appear that the fire has started in the rear flat and has started to spread through to the front of the house with the prevailing wind.
The house was divided into 2 flats, the back flat completely destroyed. The front of the house was damaged by smoke, heat and water. The occupants of both flats escaped uninjured. Police and fire investigators attended the scene, fearing the blaze was deliberately lit.
The fire is being investigated by the Waratah detectives, being assisted by the Hunter Region Crime Squad.
Although they are still unsure how the fire did start, investigations carried out late this afternoon suggest it was accidental. Brooke Webster, NBN News.